I just realized I forgot to chant that part. I got hung up on all the beating talk at the end of that gospel. Okay, so friends, it's wonderful to be back with you this evening here back at St. Bart's. It's good to be back. I spent the last week at Black Rock Retreat Center located in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. It's the home of the Theology of the Body Institute. I was the chaplain for a week-long course immersed in the life and writings of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. Anybody Lewis or Tolkien fans out there? Okay, for those of you who didn't raise your hands, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what to see the part of the gospel about the beatings. I'm just kidding. People, that's a joke. It's a joke. Okay. It was an absolutely marvelous week. And for those of you who prayed for me this past week, thank you for that. It was just a really renewing and refreshing time. But it's good to be back in routine, back at the pulpit, back at the altar. So here we are, 19th Sunday, ordinary time, and the church gives us some really exquisite readings. In my prayer, the Lord really invited me to rest with the second reading that we have today. That's what I want to do. This letter to the Hebrews, this section that comes from chapter 11, known as the Hall of Faith. So that's what I want to do. I want to do a little kind of Lectio Divina, sort of slow down, savor it, kind of Bible study, kind of on this reading today. We'll be out of here in about 3 hours. So if you had dinner plans, hope that's accounted for. So I want to reflect on this theme of faith that comes up in this section. But before I do that, I do want to direct your attention. I'm begging you to take some time to pray with just the first line of the gospel we have today. It's so exquisitely beautiful. I just want to let it be a tonic for us, like a healing corrective to any of these false images we might have in our heads of who Jesus is, severe, intense, all of those things. Listen to his heart. He says, "Do not be afraid any longer, little flock, for your Father is pleased to give you the kingdom he wants. He wants to give us the kingdom. He wants to give us the kingdom." Spend some time in that. It's so beautiful. All right, let's linger in this second reading to savor it. So we hear this from the letter to the Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, faith is the realization of what is hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's the realization of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Pause there. Faith, what is it doing? It lays claim now. It lays claim now to all that we hope for one day. It's living by what we hope to one day possess, what we hope one day to see, what we hope one day to have. It's living, claiming that now. And what, pray tell, is it that we hope for? What is it that we hope for? What is the essence of Christian hope? If we don't know that, what the heck are we doing here? What is our hope? Again, let's pause on that. What is Christian hope? The hope that is opened up to us because of Jesus Christ. It's not just wishful thinking. We're not just whistling past a graveyard. It's not just wishful thinking. It's not just fantasy land. If the resurrection of Christ from the dead is real, if it's true that he defeated death, if he walked through death as if it was a door, if he tossed it aside as if it was a t-shirt, if Christ rose from the dead, if that's true, then that means that all of his words and all of his promises are true. That's what that means. And what he has promised us, what he has said to us, is beyond words to grasp. We have the hope that one day every tear will be wiped from our eyes. We have the hope standing on the shores of the ocean of beauty that we will be utterly immersed in glory. Taken in, welcomed in, expected in, invited in to everything that we have longed for, everything we have dreamt for, everything that we have ached for. Taken into the place where there are no goodbyes, where true life, the life we've always been looking for, where that is experienced. The life that we can never seem to find in this world, where it always just seems to evade us and slip from our fingers, right? We will drink, the scriptures say, we will drink from the fountainhead of the full torrent of beauty. The ocean of beauty. Where here below we get these little droplets. in things like beautiful sunrises and beautiful nights with friends and beautiful loves and beautiful friendships. All of those things, as wonderful as they are, they're just mere drops. What would it be like to drink from the fountainhead of beauty? Therese of Lisieux, St. Therese of Lisieux, doctor of the church, she had this experience in prayer one time where she was taken up and she got to taste a little bit of the glory that's coming. And after this experience, she said to her confessor, to her spiritual director, she said, I would be willing to suffer all of the martyrdoms of all of the martyrs who have ever lived and who will ever live in the church. I would be willing to suffer all of it if I could have 1 degree more of what the glory is that's coming. She says stuff like that, and I hear that, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. Or St. Paul, in all the audacity, after he's taken up into what he says is the third heaven, he has this taste again of the glory. He says that he considers all of the suffering of the present age as nothing compared to the glory yet to be revealed. Just take the suffering of your life alone. Your life alone. Just take the suffering that's been in your life just for the last week alone. And now Paul's looking at you saying, that's nothing. Take your suffering, add it to the person next to you, to every person who's ever suffered. He looks at that and says, I know it's a lot. I know it's awful, but it is nothing compared to the glory that's coming. Like, friends, what is the glory that's coming? It's everything our hearts could possibly be looking for. It's the fullness of satisfied desire, as Thomas Aquinas says. Faith, he says, in the letter to the Hebrews, is the realization of what is hoped for, the conviction of what is and what is to come. And because of that, faith, we hear faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith looks like something. It does something to the one who has it. It moves a person into action to live in conformity with the realities that we're hoping for. Not just simply as if they were true, as if they might come to pass. No, but as they are true, because they are going to come to pass, because they will be ours. Faith, it looks like leaning out so far over the ledge that if his hands weren't there to catch me, I would fall. Right? Life of faith, it looks insane in this faithless world. Like, to the faithless world, the criticism would come, why would you forgive like that? Why would you prioritize that? Why would you be willing to suffer that? Why would you be willing to sacrifice all of that for all of that? Why would you waste your life on that? Why would you take the time to do that? If we are disciples, right? If we are disciples of Jesus Christ, if we're not just simply his fans, but if we are his followers, then there ought to be many aspects of our lives that, like, apart from this story, apart from the promises that come from him, apart from Jesus Christ, there ought to be aspects of our life that don't make sense apart from that. That doesn't make sense apart from him. By faith, we hear Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place that he was to receive as an inheritance. He didn't go just blindly or dumbly or naively, but he went trustingly. He was leaning out on the word that was being spoken to him, beckoning him, this mystery that was calling him. And certainly, right, certainly when God called him, he gave him all the explanation. He laid the whole plan out for him, told him everything that was coming, right? Wrong. What do we hear? He went out not knowing where he was to go. Not knowing where he was to go. Abraham, get up and go to a land I shall point out to you. Faith is not this 10 million candle power military grade flashlight that just illuminates everything. It's a flickering flame. It's one flame that has enough luminosity to illuminate the ground just pretty much around your feet, to enable you to keep going. By faith, he sojourned in the promised land as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, heirs of the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and maker is God. Oh gosh, pause right there. Okay, are you still with me, 4 o'clock crowd? Yes? Okay, all right, good. He was looking forward to the city with foundations whose architect and maker is God. Friends, this is us, dwelling in tents in this valley of tears. Like, sure, we make houses and cities and civilizations, but they're all temporary. They are all of them temporary. They're all so many tents. And we're meant to have hearts that are awake, Jesus says in this gospel, hearts that are vigilant, not afraid of him, but awake, not numbed out, not asleep in this fallen world. He's asking us, keep your heart awake and desirous for what? For home. Keep desiring home. And everything you've ever longed for about that word home, every ache and desire for home, it's all been an old ache for him. When you think of the word home, everything it connotes, everything it brings up, both the inverse of the negative and the fullness of the positive, like everything that word connotes, it is an ache for him, for his country, for his city, for his heart, for his welcome, for his embrace, for him to say, well done, good and faithful servant, enter in this embrace. That's what it is. He wants you and I home. He's this promise-keeping God. He's a promise-making and promise-keeping God, which is why we can live and we can walk by faith. Later on in that letter to the Hebrews, it references all of these Old Testament figures who lived and who died by faith, but who never saw the fulfillment of their faith. In their lifetime, they never saw the full realization of it all. They never saw the full picture. They never saw where it was all headed. We heard these words. We just heard this. All of these people from the Old Testament, all of these died in faith. They did not receive what had been promised, but saw it and greeted it from afar and acknowledged themselves to be strangers and aliens on earth. For those who speak thus show that they are seeking a homeland. Like, do you hear that? The city whose maker is God, our true homeland. These ones who lived and died by faith, they're dwelling in the realm of death. And they're gazing at a distance on the realization that's coming. I want to end with this, and this is something I don't think I've ever done this before in a homily, so buckle up. You ready? Okay. I don't think I've ever done this in my almost 10 years of priesthood. I want to end by reading you a poem. How about that? Some of you are like, ugh. Stay with me. This is really, really incredibly beautiful stuff. This is a poem by a nun named Sister Mary Ada, and it's about Christ's descent into the realm of the dead. What is he doing on Holy Saturday? What is he doing when we say he descended into hell? What's he doing? He's going down to greet all of those who lived by faith before he came. He's going down to get them and greet them and to do what? To bring them home. But first, before he does all of that, there's one man in particular waiting in the shadows of death that he has to go see first. So, close your eyes for just a moment. Humor me. Sister Mary Ada. The poem's called Limbo. She writes this. The ancient grayness shifted, suddenly and thin like mist upon the moors before a wind. An old, old prophet lifted a shining face and said, "He will be coming soon. The Son of God is dead. He died this afternoon." A murmurous excitement stirred all souls. They wondered if they dreamed, save one old man who seemed not even to have heard. And Moses, standing, hushed them all to ask if any had a welcome song prepared. If not, would David take the task? And if they cared, could not the three young children sing the Benedicite, the canticle of praise they made when God kept them from perishing in the fiery blaze? A breath of spring surprised them, stilling Moses' words. No one could speak, remembering the first fresh flowers, the little singing birds. Still others thought of fields new plowed or apple trees all blossom bowed, or some, the way a dried bed fills with water, laughing down green hills. The fisherfolk dreamed of the foam on bright blue seas. The one old man who had not stirred remembered home. And there he was, splendid as the morning sun and fair as only God is fair. And they, confused with joy, knelt to adore, seeing that he wore 5 crimson stars he never had before. No canticle at all was sung, none toned a psalm or raised a greeting song. A silent man alone of all that throng found tongue, not any other. Close to his heart when the embrace was done, old Joseph said, "How is your mother? How is your mother, son?" Amen.